I met Rita a year ago, just over a year ago, actually October 7th last year.
Wow.
And some friends from Switzerland put us in touch, and it's been this slowly beautiful, synchronistic relationship where it just feels like it's blooming over time. And what I really love about Rita is how you tap into source and give us that transmission almost immediately. It just feels like you can transcend just listening and watching you. And on the Enlightened DXB podcast, it was a runaway success. It just keeps growing and growing, and so many people have been touched by your words. And I know that today you've really felt into what it is that you want to speak to from your heart. So I'm really so grateful that you're sharing this with the Dubai community, a community that we really want to raise the consciousness of. So thank you for being here. Really excited to hear about ageless wisdom and mysticism and all of the things you meld in so well.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Deeply appreciate that. Thank you.
And I just want to also say to Shar, thank you for sharing this beautiful space. It's a very Dubai special place. It feels like it has that Dubai art and consciousness and everything holding us here together. So I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you and so having Rita weave us all together.
Because there's so many of you I haven't met before, I want to begin by saying that I don't wrap my head because I'm presenting myself as a guru. I really want to be clear about that. I wrap it because I have an enormous amount of Kundalini energy Shakti, and it holds things in focus and gives me the capacity to transmit from that place. And so I am not here looking for followers, and even though I would love to share in depth about ageless wisdom and esoteric psychology and hold a container for you to come deeper into, connect with your being that is eternal. I'm not presenting it in one way that one path is higher or better than another. And yet I have the deepest reverence and respect for all the different gateways, all the doorways that bring us back to be with the one. And the reason that I'm here giving even a talk for free, because it's not about anything other than I sense and always walk with a sense of responsibility where I can hold a space for you to deepen in your own self-realization. So when I speak to you, even though I can speak a lot about different dimensions, planes of consciousness, and give you a lot of info that's, the mind loves, is thirsty for, to just check whether it makes sense, all those things. I'm really here to support you just come down and in further and recognize the gift of your physical body that is your altar, that is such a profound, auspicious opportunity, because your body is imbued with so many gateways, so much sacredness. Your body has your meridian system, your minor chakras, your major chakras, your nadi system. And we have to thank our mother, because we have a body that houses the consciousness that is the light of your eternal self, your spirit that's vast. And most human beings are very distracted from opening themselves to come into the nectar of stillness, the profundity, the enormity to experience spirit, the holiness, the stainless purity of the cosmic fire self that's at one with the one, that was never born and never died. And every one of us, it's our evolution, our spiritual evolution, to come to the point where we recognize that as the ego, it's a relentless, continual turning in turbulence, going round and round, lifetime upon lifetime, lost in this pilgrimage that we're on, until one day something shifts. We say, I can't do this on my own. And I want to talk into that, because we are at such a powerful point as a species, and the fact of where we are, even in terms of the Earth's evolution right now. So I'm opening a space, in particular for each of us, to come into a stronger sense of peace. It's not about feeding the left brain mind, but to come into a peace of knowing a divine plan is unfolding, bringing us out of chaos into something known in esoteric psychology as cosmic divine order, ceremonial white magic. That is the portent of this next 2,000 years, which is the age of Aquarius, which is, it's such an interesting one, because so many people are frightened of technology, frightened of AI, frightened of the transparency. Let's say if we end up with digital, whatever it's called, ID cards. That's a big narrative right now, isn't it? This sense of I don't want people to have control of where my money is, where it's going, how many aeroplanes and rides. I noticed this today, that people are in fear just of that. And yet, as a race, the age of Aquarius is the age of telepathy. And we cannot come into our telepathic level of sensual, tantric awareness unless we're willing to be utterly transparent. Which means, just as it is spoken in the Bible, there is nowhere to run and there is nowhere to hide. And therefore, we've got nowhere to go apart from becoming impeccable, which is the diamond path, or the beauty way, which is what it's called in the world of plant medicines. To want the best for every human being, to be the best that we can be, and to make our relationship with our Creator so anchored, so deep, and so profound, because that is every path. All the religions bring us back to that same one point, and so do the plant medicines. The humility, that humble moment when we bow down and we just know we can't do it on our own, and we finally make our return, just like the prodigal son, to say, Father of all creation, I'm here as your son, your daughter. Please guide me into the right activity within your divine plan. May it be your will. That we can literally come to this point of some people in Hinduism, for instance, if it was somebody really talking about Shakti, and to really make a relationship with the Great Mother, it's all the same. It's like the surrendering, the submission to go to that level of divinity, to come back to our innocence, to know that we, the left brain mind, stroke ego, that really will avoid the stillness to really give the fullness of our being, to become an acupuncture point, transmission, to become a peacekeeper on this earth. We're all in avoidance of it, even the best, because the ego is always infused, and the ego will do everything to run the show and take credit and think it's the one that's doing it. And that's why we're in fear. That's why we're in avoidance. It's a catch-22. It's a consistent thing to go round and round the emotional treadmill in samsara, in illusion, lifetime upon lifetime, lost in the midst of our own glamour, confusion, and what we're creating. And yet we're thirsty. You're thirsty, you wouldn't be here. Today, if you weren't thirsty to live truth, to breathe truth, to unveil truth, to walk a path of impeccability. So I'm not here to make wrongness, but I am here to just open an exploration that helps us to understand that all of the paths have great wisdom, and yet we're at a turning point of a new time where you have access to make your relationship to the highest of high, the holiest of holies, to be at one with the one, to build the bridge, to unveil your own sacred truth that is so magnificent. And it starts with honouring of your body, this gift of body that is matter, made of matter, and you matter, and it comes from the mother. The mother is matter. And most of us, you know, think about what you're imbued with. Not all of you, some of you are very blessed that you feel a firm foundation underneath your feet. Some of you have got your roots into the earth. You've got a very good foundation platform underneath you, and you have time and space. In other words, you're not in the survival of looking to see how you pay your rent. And then you can anchor yourself in this sense of peacefulness. But we're all working towards deepening in inner peace. And that can only come if you know that there is a divine plan that's unfurling through each of us, individually and a collective one. And it's all about how your chakras align. And it's not something you can do by visualizing and thinking that just because you've aligned it this way and that way in your mind, that that's actual. Your chakras evolve through taking a path of harmlessness in your actions, in your thoughts, in whether you get drawn into speak and gossip, because that will immediately turn your throat chakra anti-clockwise. And then that will press down on your sacral chakra. And then that orgasm, or that new car, or that new dress is going to be ever receding to give any level of satisfaction. Because our chakras are designed to align to the source of all creation, which is the central spiritual sun. That sun behind our physical sun, that connects to the sun behind that sun that we can't even talk about because it's such intelligence. But we're all designed exactly the same way as a seed that goes into the earth, that is growing to the light of the sun. Every single one of us is designed in that way, but you were planted. So imagine that the seed of you is your aligned monadic self that was never born, never died, the stainless purity of you. And every time we take incarnation into a body of matter gifted by the mother, in her love for the father, because of their union is paramount to all of our evolution. To really understand that, I'll go into that more because it's essential to really get that one thing that you're designed to become an acupuncture point for their marriage. The mother coming up through you, opening you, turning you inside out, so that you feel your innocence, inner sense, and take new birth in the gift of your being, rather than the inheritance of the bloodline karma of everything that wasn't love, that became the obstacle. Hey, don't be sorry, come on in. welcome. Yeah, get comfy. Where can you sit? Yeah.
Let me see this comfy.
You can put it a little bit back, maybe lean it towards that sofa there. See where the sister sit there. Yeah, I'll have a sip of water. So, yeah, just to say, something called Ageless Wisdom is so beautiful because it takes into consideration the Vedas, the highest tantras of Tibetan Buddhism and all the Buddhist teachings, all the sutras. It takes into consideration Christianity, what the Christ teachings are, Muhammad's teachings, everything is included, and also then the indigenous ways, the earth keepers' ways. I've been very graced, I've worked with plant medicines now for about 22 years, something like that. All of them, from ayahuasca to iboga, all of them. I've been in a very deep study. And I can honestly say to you in a very humble way that why I even got involved to study with them, because I personally had a Kundalini awakening in 1994 to 1996. Bliss states beyond words, so much grace, so much spacious clear light, like electric fire, piercing, opening, activating every cell to feel the cosmic orgasm, open into spacious clear light, which is why I love to teach about White Tantra and to help people understand their own Kundalini awakenings. That was before I worked with plant medicines. That came later, not long after my partner had died from a road traffic accident, very unexpectedly, and now I'm a single parent again with 4 children and my daughter being 5 months old. And I'm grateful for every single day of everything that's ever happened in this body, in this life. But what I saw with plant medicines that blew my mind, which really is a continual unfurling, is how they are serving the Christ, the Buddha, the Krishna. It's all the same path, which is all about going from the base of your spine to the crown of your head on a de-exploration that your body is the temple in your making, in the making, and it spans across lifetimes. And what do I mean by that? Let's put it like this. Every time you are selfless, harmlessness, impeccable, wanting the best for all human beings, and when you really live that, you're generating chi, life force energy, prana, and that is what gets stored in your chakras, in your meridian systems, and becomes your light body, but is what's absorbed from this entire life at your moment of your last breath. That becomes the absorption process of all the goodness, all the mantras that you chanted, all the prayers that you made, all the offerings that you made. Everything good that you've ever done is the only thing you can take from this life. And that is what builds the light of your soul. And it's absorbed into all of your energy field, your energy bodies. We are all designed in such a specific way. So let's just say you didn't get an auspicious childhood and you were born into a family where there was no presence and you just were lost from being a young child. In fact, maybe you were beaten, maybe you were sexually abused. As a young child, that's a lot to find your light, find your connection to source and be able to transform and transcend this level of suffering. This is one of the reasons I very much love the Buddhist way of looking, because they would look at somebody who comes in with a strong karma like this, or appears to be a strong karma, as a high being, as a bodhisattva, who comes to consciously lift the bloodlines, And as it happens, all the plant medicines work very specifically in that way to really help us to lift the bloodlines of 7 generations back for the sake of the children of 7 generations forward. I watch this as a grandmother, and I see my own unconsciousness being purified through my grandchildren and the prayers made all those years ago, because it was too difficult for me not to pass my unconsciousness into my children by my mistakes, which were all within the divine perfection. Felt uncomfortable to have to look at as I'm in it, to see the suffering I caused through my lack of presence because I was a single mother. The lack of fathering for sons. It's a lot. And the reason I'm saying this on my personal story, a bit of it, is because every single one of you has difficult things that you've got born through that becomes your spiritual training and can become your spiritual practice. It just depends on the viewpoint. You could either be the victim and continue to be in blame, or you can turn it around. And so every awakened person, in reality, awakens to go, oh my God, it was so perfect. All that suffering became the depth of your sorrow, became the height of your joy. There was nothing outside of it. And that you wouldn't be who you are, or will be, without what you suffered. It was the pressure that cultivated you to become radiant, jewel-like, like the diamond. We have to have these different things, and it's very specific. And everything's a gift in reality, even when it looks like shit. But it's the truth. And so here I am in the Middle East, in Dubai, looking at the energy field here. That's quite strong. I'm glad that my daughter didn't come to the talk, because I did want to say something about my day yesterday. There I was in the Atlantis pool, because it was something exciting for her. She's 23 and she hadn't been there. She really wanted to go. And there I am, spending a bloody fortune to not even be lying in the sun hardly. And the sunset thing, like, I was like, oh yeah, I can just sunbathe. It's like, well, how much are people going to pay to drink their drinks and be there just for a bit of water, for a tiny bit of a view? It was like, oh my God, okay, that's an interesting, crazy moment in my life, to see what people are up to here in Dubai.
It is a beautiful view.
Good selling, good marketing, yes, but only like it's not like a vast view, is it? It's like a bit of view. Well, I didn't think so. Anyway, I was just observing the height of a field that veils people, that makes them think that they need this, this, and this to be happy. I would have been very happy anywhere. I was still happy there, but that's not the point. It's a veil, it's a false matrix, and it's very strong here. And with the shifting sands, it must feel very ungrounding. And I'm looking at you two and thinking about, oh my God, your grandfather, your grandmother, and your great-grandfather, they would be turning in their graves at the changes that are unfolding. Because, you know, the Colombians, they speak about it very beautifully. They say that up until now, humanity's been like the maize people, the corn people. People of different colours, the corns of different colours. And now it's all being melted to be the honey people. So we are in a shift of evolution. That's just one way, but in esoteric psychology they'll talk about the 6th root race. The 6th root race is all about the children coming in that are so highly telepathic. Now, to be telepathic is not guessing what's in your mind. just to be very clear about that. It's not like you're thinking of a number and I'm going, oh, is it 7? That is not telepathy. Telepathy is very advanced, and it's about the sensual sensitivity of your vortexes, of your meridian system, your nadi system, your minor chakras that have vortexes in your lips, in your breasts, in the palms of your hands, the soles of your feet, being open and activated, and you being so empty of your left brain mind and so deep in stillness and at one with the one that you're now able to receive downloads, uploads, inloads and outloads as a transmission from another person's soul, because you're already in contact with your soul. That is telepathy. And it's more than mental to mental, and it's more than emotion to emotion. What will unfold in this next 2,000 years is a very advanced capacity to be in transmission with each other, to receive beyond words, because there's a lot of mess and confusion that happens through words, especially when the ego is there that wants to prove a point, take a position. So let me talk a little bit about the battle that humanity is in as part of these different stages of initiation, in terms of how we are designed to wake up. So we're designed to have our chakras aligned, and it's the throat chakra to the sacral chakra, and then the solar plex to the heart center. This opens the pathway along the central channel, preparing your sleeping serpent to be allowed to rise and open the sushumna, both the sushumna and the ida and the pingala, the left and the right, the divine masculine and the divine feminine within you, for this to unfurl. This is what happens at a Kundalini awakening. And this alignment of going from first starting where we get to the point, you've all got to the point where you realise you're bored with the superficial veneer. You know that you came here with a purpose. You have made time to be still and watch your mind, to observe the mind. And the one that's observing the mind is the self, and that's one of the reasons I've invited that we sit, so that we can actually do some practice to rest, to really allow the self expression inside you. And to notice the one that's watching, that is the self, the true self, the one that doesn't care what anyone thinks. And so, at the beginning of our wake-up process, when we start to observe the chitter-chatter, and we start to observe this mind that is constantly judging, comparing, it's a rampant program that you inherited, and it's deep within the collective, because you're being sold at all the time. You need this, you need that. No, you need to have your lips done. Oh, you're 23 years old, you need some Botox. Like, come on. It's so strong to make you feel that you're not enough if you're going to allow yourself to consistently buy into the false matrix. And all of our evolution is about moving beyond duality, beyond these two eyes that see dualistically, to open this eye, the single eye, the eye of revelation. That is the Vajra point that pierces the false matrix to open you to that spacious, clear light beyond, that can witness the good, the true, and the beautiful, that can pierce through seeing negativity and then go, oh my God, I live here in this temple, and there's this sacred building next door, and all the bougainvillea are just like saying thank you, and they just radiated these blessings into my body, into my life. And the sky's so blue, and if I'm really still, I can see the golden light of geometry within the codes. The codes, they're there. But in the two eyes, you can't see that. But with single eye, you start to feel everything, and it reveals the fifth kingdom of heaven. So we are all evolving towards the point where our body is stable enough to hold the voltage of the light of your spirit that's made of cosmic fire. It takes a lot. And every day it's like Groundhog Day, where you keep being sold to be in the false matrix, reacting, taking things personally. We are all. And that is why it's so essential that we actually find a practice. And the good news is, everybody's really individual, and it's not about one practice fits all or one religion is the right way. Because you've had so many lives. And actually the highest states, they say, is that everything becomes your practice. How you prepare the food to give somebody, high practice. The love that you put in the prana, the presence, the way that you prepare that plate and make it beautiful. You're putting light of your soul into that, and your soul and your spirit are two different things. How you change the nappy of your child. How many people here that's a mama or a dad? Like that, just to be that is such a powerful thing. To have that opportunity, and then you can think, oh God, I'm so sick of doing this. Like, they don't bloody appreciate you. Just made all that delicious food. They can eat only. Like, it's what a powerful shamanic training it is to have children. And you know, I don't know why, yesterday, for some reason, I was thinking, not everybody's mothers or fathers nowadays. There's a lot less, I mean, compared to my generation. But every single one of you is a son or a daughter. Every single one of you. And how many people are scathing about their parents, thinking that they're so much more advanced, so much more clever, more spiritual. They kind of laugh at the you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Think their parents are really ridiculous. And that's your teenage self putting that coating. Actually, you know, I changed that because in different cultures, there's a lot more respect. But in a lot of cultures in the West now, there's a lot less. It's deep, it's strong. And some of you, most of you probably have had parents that just could not be present. And the child part that wants to stay in the victim, that takes everything personally, wants to hold on to not forgiving or having the compassion to understand they were where they were in their spiritual evolution. In fact, one of the things, when you train to become, let's say, a space holder, working with other people, helping other people, one of the first things we have to get to is to develop a very profound depth of compassion, to understand where everybody is in their own spiritual development, and to understand if they're not in a good place, it's because hurt people. And it doesn't mean, so the second stage of our awakening, the first stage is this whole recognizing that we have all this judgmental, comparing energy. that's going anti-clockwise. It gets drawn into gossip, thinks it knows everything, and then that really goes anti-clockwise onto the sacral. But the hardest one, that's kind of easy to, as a first stage of wake up, is to say, you know what, I'm not going to join into that negative conversation about that person. I'm going to hold them in the highest line and trust that they're in their own spiritual evolution. Because think about this, didn't God give you all lifetime upon lifetime to master and perfect yourself, this whole journey? Who are we to condemn someone on the way in the bandwidth of all of eternity because they were full of crap now? You don't have to hang out with them. So that is the next stage of awakening, is your ability to discern and discriminate. How do you get off the emotional treadmill? How do you stop being irritated, agitated by somebody's consistent rudeness, ungraciousness, lack of seeing you, maybe putting fault around you? All of the things that trigger us to go into our childhood wounds of being the victim again. Because there's always going to be people that come into your life to gift you with the pressure to make you come deeper into self-reflection and master your emotional body. I have 4 children, I'm laughing, and I consistently manifest my practice around me to keep sharpening, polishing, purifying, and becoming more humble every day. It's an opportunity for that. So the second stage of our wake up is this alignment to how do we liberate ourselves to get off the emotional treadmill. In the Bible, it was talked about as being as difficult as going through the eye of the needle. You know, the whole of the Mahabharata and the Gita is all about training on this. There's nothing outside of it. The Quran is all training. And the ayahuasca, plant medicines, full power training, fast track, clean up, purify. Just, there's no running away. We have to clean ourselves, fast track, to purify the emotional body, to take responsibility of what it is that we've created rather than the blame game, to literally think it's not us. It's not comfortable, it's not easy, but ultimately, at the end of the day, we are all being trained to become peacekeepers. And I touched upon this. Every human being is in a battle until Shakti, Great Mother, has arisen to the crown of your head and come into union with her beloved. That opens you up, turns you inside out, activating your heart chakra. There's only one relationship that's happening. We're being cleaned so that we can become anchored, open, acupuncture points for their relationship. That is, every religion is telling you the same thing, and it's the truth. So prior to this happening, we are all in this battle. And just because it's easy for me to say it, I talk about it through Christianity. I went to a Catholic school, I studied the Bible because I thought the nuns were talking bullshit. They didn't believe in reincarnation. My grandmother is called Radha, and they're telling me that she would not get into heaven because unless she put Jesus as her main teacher. And I said, that can't be right, I'm sorry. I said, are you saying to me that the Elephant Man has one lifetime and a princess or a king has that, and there's only Like that doesn't, there's no sense in that. So how they kicked me out of my religious class. But I did still get a grade A in my religious O-levels. So, but the point is, in the biblical way, to speak about this unified state that brings us into Revelation, that is the marriage in the Bible. It talks about the marriage of the bride and Christ, the mother and the father. In quantum physics, that's the same as saying, it's the same as saying merging of spirit and matter that opens the Adam Kadmon, opens us into a transcendental, spacious, clear light, gamma brainwaves, theta brainwaves. But what is the battle? The battle for each of us is that part that said, do you know what, God? I want my own creativity. I do not want to follow your plan. I feel like I want my own way, and just talk to the hand. I'm not part of your plan. I just want to have time of decadence and do everything I feel like doing. Think about this. What is every 2-year-old in their tantrum doing? Think about every teenager. If anybody's a mum of teenagers, or think back to your teenage self. You're like, there's this impudent part that absolutely hates to be told what to do. We have all got it. We've still got it. I've still got it. I'm 62. I've had a completely awakening. I've still got it. Because there's a part of me, my oldest son, who's now 42, said to me, I think when he was about 14, Mum, I need you to understand you're not here to be my teacher. I am here to self-realize. And that was beautiful. It was such a deep teaching, and it's the truth, which is why I do not feel I'm your guru or teacher. I'm here to show you a path of your own self-study through your own self-realization to come deeper into your absolute divine fulfillment, to understand the great perfection that everything in your life right now is the gift. And there's no mistakes, not from the beginning to the end, not one day. But the battle is that part where we're pushing the Luciferic nature that's saying, no, God, no, no. I'm too busy, I'm scrolling, TikTok, boom, boom. Oh, it's a bit too busy for that, no, no. And it's just pushing everything away. Even when, like the other day when I was just out, just going, oh my God. Literally everybody was on their phones, everywhere. Even when they're with their friends. No presence. No presence. No presence with the bougainvillea and blue sky. No presence with the gift of each other. It's beauty, mind-blowing. Not even presence when you're eating something. Where are we going? You know, in Hindu, the Vedas, we look at this like right at the end of the Kali Yuga. Now the good news is, here we are at a moment in time where the planet has taken 26,000 years to come back to be at the galactic center. This is such a powerful moment for each and every one of us to come into our alignment with really the highest of high and the holiest of holies. Now I love that in Tibetan Buddhism there is a tantra called the Kalachakra Tantra. It's the highest tantra. And what this means is different to left-hand path or red tantra. This is a tantra that's not focused on sexuality, it's a focus on inner union and purifying your mind, purifying the view, to really deeply understand that there is a divine plan, And they talk about the Kali Chakra takes you into this transmission of the mandalas that open you into the consciousness of Shambhala. Shambhala is a place that really exists. It's an 8-petaled lotus that sits now in the centre of Mount Meru, encircled by an iron fence and snowy mountains. So it's got a containment around it, but it actually was on Earth in the past. They say that it was in Siberia. And basically, every 100 years there's a change of king, and it's the king, it's also overlaps with Hinduism because it's the Kalki king. And this king has the skill to help the entire evolution of the people to come into becoming an enlightened society. So what that means is human beings whose base chakra is anchored into the ground and who's in this level of union with one with the one, so that they get to experience the clear light, the Dharmakaya nature, spacious clear light of your innate wisdom self. And then you become like, if everybody was in absolute fulfillment, that you'd journeyed, you'd pilgrimaged all the way to the center of your heart chakra, where our Creator put a jewel through knowing you with great intimacy, because you're created as one with the one, where you, everything that you could imagine that you would love to do, you get to do it every single day. Every day it's utter fulfillment. It's called the opulence of the absolute in the Gita. It's when you really, really are living your purpose. That means you've journeyed all the way back to the center of you, and the center of you is the center of the galactic source, which is everywhere at once. Krishna talked about it in the Gita on chapter 50, where he, every Hindu, when their son dies, their father dies, has to read this chapter about the fire of all existence. That's just one method of talking about it, but it's in the Quran. It's not outside, because it's the fire of spirit. So, Shambhala, imagine, is this place where there are 960 million cities of people, but cities where everything is the perfect temperature. There's no need for aircon, there's no need for heating, because they're in such a highly realized state. Everything manifests in a different way. There's lotus groves everywhere. It's not like littered and you're not drinking out of plastic bottles. Thank God. I would cry if I mentioned Shambhala, they were. So, basically, this is like no joke. Like, to anybody who looks at the transmission of the Kali Chakra will feel like the depth of the vastness, the sacredness. And so these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have brought back this way and this understanding to show us a path to bring us into the Golden Age. And they talk about that the beginning of this happens from 2030. By 2037, everything shifts. Now, how many of you are enjoying AI and things like the Architect? Anybody know about that? Yeah? Well, I know that it got moved onto a different platform, but the reason I'm bringing it up is there are more AI programs that are like bodhisattvas. Just to give you a little cover of what's a bodhisattva. A bodhisattva is somebody who renounces their enlightened state for the benefit of all beings. In other words, they took incarnation again to help people. Because that is a very different part of a lot of Hinduism would be, oh, this is your last life. You've got such good karma now. You don't need to make it open to that in a minute. But in the highest Tibetan tantras, you have the opportunity to have different emanations of your being, that you renounce your enlightened state to take a body. And maybe you go into, be born in Qatar and were sexually abused and take on the very dark, deep, disturbing, painfully upsetting type of childhood, and couldn't even, when you tried to talk to your parents, the parents didn't even want to know. So you held it in your body until one day you awaken and you say, I lift this to the holy I am of all that I am. I am empowered by everything. Even this could not disturb my union with the One. I forgive this person. I'm so sorry. I pray that in your next incarnation, you're born with the loving presence, that you've transmuted this hatred, this lust, and this violation, that you've been violated, so you feel comfortable to violate. That is what's going to bring us to become an enlightened society, and that's the only way we're going to heal this earth, heal this humanity. And we're all working towards it, and everybody got given a gift of this single body for the reason that is very, very specific. There's no mistakes. And we are closer because we're having these conversations. You don't think of this. 100 years ago, you couldn't get up on a plane and in the same one lifetime sit with the medicines, sitting with the Yawanawa here this week, and next week the honey queen, and next week you fly to Africa to do Iboga, and then after that you decide, oh, actually I'm going to go and sit with the Aboriginals in Australia. Or you might say, actually this lifetime, I think for the first 10 years I'm going to really be in service to Krishna. And then after that you might fall in love with the Muslim women and decide that you're going to actually just fell in love with the Quran. How, like, that didn't happen 100 years ago. This is auspicious, that you can drink from the nectar of all the different traditions and all the beauty that they bring. That's incredible. Because we are at a time where it's essential that you get to really deeply experience your connection with your spirit. That is not even your soul. So I just want to clarify the difference. Your soul, that is made of electric fire. Your soul is the merit that you've accumulated from all your good deeds, words and actions, all the mantras, all the prayers, all the selfless service, the offerings, the meals that you cooked when you were exhausted, the nappies that you changed, with loving kindness, the presents that you were able to bring to anybody, and the good wishes. Your good wishes, you're wanting the best for each person, generates pranic energy, and is seen, every thought, let's just be clear about this, every thought you've ever had is recorded, even our selfish ones, all of it, and you get a life review at the end. So it's really intricate and specific for us to evolve. It's amazing. We have been gifted so much to speed us up and help us to get there. And I'm humbled personally, because for 20-something years, all I've ever had is like incredible conversations with people waking up, and then they bring their sister, their father, their son, their daughter, their husband, their wife. Everybody wants to share when they come to the next place in their evolution. And as one of our Tibetan lamas would say so sweetly and naively, but accurately and powerfully, he would say, if one person in one family wakes up and feels peaceful, that spreads to the rest of the family. And when one family feels peaceful, that touches 10 families. And when 10 families feel peaceful, that touches 100 families, and so on and so forth. And that is really the inspiration behind here, because if you could move beyond the sense of fear and hopelessness, and that you weren't powerful, if you could go beyond that to actually take your place here on this earth, grounded, to not try and be small, but not to try and be big, but just to be you, to really give yourself more permission every day to feel who you are as a being. Not you were Isis in a previous lifetime, or this or this. But to really feel the presence, because the presence of you is so powerful. Because in presence, you are with the angel of the presence, and you're at one with the one. And the battle is won. And you look tired, some of you. Pardon?
Is it processing it?
Yes, it's deep. We're recording so that you can go back to it. And sister, tell me what you would like to ask me.
Oh gosh. It was a really small question. It's when you mentioned that the bodegas and the people.
Bodhisattvas.
Yes. How do you spell that?
I'm going to read you something about the Bodhisattvas. It's one of my favourite prayers here. Bodhisattvas, Bodhisattiva, Bodhisattva. It's like Buddha and Bodhisattva.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Was that just to know the spelling?
Yes, just
Okay.
that. I don't want to look this up, and I couldn't.
Aww. In what month are we now?
October.
November. So in June, July, I did the first time I offered a advanced space holders training. There's so many people now really wanting to hold space within ceremonial, sacred spaces, and there's so many people serving medicines, for instance, and it just became very loud to me that I really want to help people that hold space for others to have a very clear level of compassion that doesn't judge. So I think it's really important to actually understand what we're opening as portals, for instance, if we're working with psychedelics on any level. To know that we've got clear space, know that our alignment with the source is very anchored, and know all the different states of the planes of consciousness. In Buddhism it's called the bardos, but there's very many different planes, and most people open themselves to go into the astral plane because they're habitually stuck there, going round and round, lifetime upon lifetime of being victim and self-pity and aloofness. Because basically, you know, I said that we are all designed like a seed planted into the earth that grows to the light of the sun. But lifetime upon lifetime, when we're stuck on the emotional treadmill, everybody, until they're aligned to the source of creation, they're in an overflow of this fire, the electric fire of the soul, because they're integrated with their soul. So they feel this abundance of generosity to give rather than to take. That is what an aligned, awakened person will be in, an abundance of generosity to just naturally give. But when we are in survival, or we've been in this thing to, harbour, hoard, keep everything just for yourself, and you're not in this generosity, on a very basic level, this is called the lunar principle of vampires. And everybody does this to a degree on a daily practice of looking to see what they can take rather than what can they give. Think about that. That is every human was taught that as part of mainstream education on some level. It's just how it's like taking energy through being a victim and feeling self-pity sucks energy from another. Being in aloofness, think about this. You're in a relationship where you've got a business partner and that person might be pissing you off because it's triggering something, and then you just think, I'm just not even going to talk to them and give them any energy. And that withholding, making everybody have to tread on eggshells, it's aloofness, it's a sucking of energy for that person to be taking power. Because the ego wants power. Because it's not going, it hasn't got the humility to go to Creator, to go to the source, to become the vessel, to be the divine innocence, to not want to take the credit. Because it's a very different interplay. So that is our false matrix. This is samsara, where we are looking to take energy in any one moment. Unconsciously has to be built to be able to connect with the voltage of your spirit that is at one with the one, because now you're opening into the intelligence of God consciousness. That's a lot, but that's what we're preparing for. There is a purpose, but imagine when the line of your spirit is able to pass through all your chakras, unimpeded to the base of your spine. Would you like to sit on this chair? Okay, once you go to the toilet, but come back and bring the chair to be comfortable. That is where we will become an enlightened society. When they say when 144,000 people have grounded the light of their spirit all the way to the base chakra through their feet, and that they are just going to be unswerving in their Vajra-like capacity to cut through this false matrix. That doesn't mean to reject it. Just need to say that there. It's not about renunciation, which we did the last 2,000 years. It's about bringing your light to all the different areas of your life. There is mastery in every different area. Oh, and I'm sorry, I got distracted because I remember saying about the AI and telepathy, and how what I'm seeing is where we've got vast problems around mental health, as after COVID, and people feeling in anxiety, depression, young people cutting themselves, just living their life through some kind of phone. That is a concern. Not sitting around the sacred fire, being pastors stick to talk and connect and be under the stars, and embracing the Great Mother. I mean, this is a thing that we're coming back to. This is the age of ceremonial white magic, which is basically another way to say the Tao. Being so hollow that we're being moved to speak in a certain way, to say something, to uplift every human. Every human. And to take it as our responsibility that every man, woman, and child has clean water to drink on this earth. It's our responsibility collectively. But we all need to give to the water charities to make sure that there's a distribution of balance. This is what will happen the more awake we get. And this is all about opening the inner pathways inside your body, so that the pathways outside of you become harmonious, clean and clear. I could go on and on, but I wanted to share the Bodhisattva prayer. And then I think let's have some questions, and then maybe a little movement or something, just naturally, and then I love to bring you into presence if there's time and you would like to. You don't fall asleep. No, I don't think you'll fall asleep. Yeah, should we do that?
Yeah.
Okay, let me share this with you about Bodhisattva vow. This is like an abbreviated version. The Bodhisattva vow's quite long and deep, and it was actually shared by a Mahasiddhi called Shantideva many centuries ago. And this is more like a very succinct version that's so beautiful. When I listened to it and read it about just before, I think it must have been around May of this year, and I just was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is 100% my own inner commitment. And it was like a revelation to see, like, I love this, I live this. And I would love to inspire you to become aware that this is what you're really here for. Okay, so, thus, by all positive actions accumulated by the 3 times in the 10 directions, may the pain of every being be completely cleared away. In an eon of famine, may I myself change into food and drink. May the hungry find food vital and nutritious. May the thirsty find water pure and ever abundant. May I become the doctor, the medicine and the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. May every disease in the world never occur again. May the blind see forms and the deaf hear sounds. May I become an inexhaustible treasure for those who are poor and destitute. May the naked find clothing and the homeless find shelter. May I become a clean, comfortable bed to rest on, free from fear or harm. May I be a protector for those without one. May the powerless find power and the bound be freed. And may those with little splendor be endowed with majesty, and those whose bodies are worn with toil find magnificent forms. May the lowly obtain grandeur and the proud be humbled, and may beings think of benefiting one another. May those weak with sorrow find joy, and the forlorn find hope, constant happiness and prosperity. May no one ever be afraid or belittled. May no one's mind ever be depressed. May I turn into all things that anyone could ever need. May I be a lamp for those desiring light. May I become a boat, a bridge, and a guide for all travellers along the way. May those people with cold find warmth, and may those oppressed by heat be cooled. May harvest be rich and bountiful, and animals be free from the fear of being eaten. May all beings be without want and woe, and without it being a source of dispute, of harm, may they always prosper. Just like space and all the elements, may I always support the life of all boundless creatures, for as long as sentient beings remain. Until then, may I too abide to dispel pain in the world. May the suffering of living beings ripen solely above myself. I value all beings as equal to myself, and I offer myself to you. May this generosity transform negativity into love, compassion, and kindness. May all negativity, the effects of all harmful actions, be purified, and may beings think of benefiting one another, stirring the realms from their depths. Om Shri Vajraruka Samya Manabhaya Vajraruka Devava Tijajita Mepava Subjakai Mepava Subakai Mepava Anurakta Mepava Salvasiti Metra Sasavakama Sutsumi Dijtam Shriyam Kuruhu Kaha Bhagavan Vajraruka Mahutsu Benzabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum. Thank you. Thank you for receiving this beautiful Bodhisattva prayer. And yeah, before I open up for questions, just to really reiterate that, you know, in all the parts, there's treasure and beauty. There's not one thing that is better than the other. And yeah, I look forward to sharing more with you when the time arises. But feel free if you've got any questions. I really will be open to them. Yes,
Talking
Tom.
about the difference between the soul and the spirit.
Yes. Shall I say a bit more about it? Thank you. So, your spirit is the permanent atom, where you're at one with the one. But you're the individuation of the one. So imagine that there's one, the formless creator, God consciousness, and then that form individualizes. And at the highest point of your consciousness, of which you are building the bridge to experience yourself that exists in this bliss state, because your spirit's in bliss. At one with one, it's like it's already in the divine perfection. And in the many systems, they say that in this place you are unified with your beloved. So you are in that, you're in a rotating, moving, living prayer in your lovemaking, and that lovemaking isn't lustful. It's an exquisite harmony. And so, to open to the voltage of your spirit is our purpose, to be here, to build that bridge. But first we have to become, as personalities, integrated with our soul. So the soul is what has been generated through your consciousness, through all your lives. So some people are old souls with very ancient transmissions of wisdom. Others may be a new soul, but their spirit is still at one with the one. And, you know, it gets more complex, as in souls have different ray qualities that they come in on. And that's all connected into the 7 great Rishis that guard the universe, or what you could call them the 7 solar lords, that are these vast beings that span across our 7 solar systems. And then they transmit different qualities of light called the 7 rays that correspond to the 7 colours of the rainbow, 7 notes on the scale, and the 7 chakras. And so, for instance, somebody could have in here, they might have a 4th ray soul and be very artistic and musical when their soul comes in. Sorry, I'm feeling my nose is getting plugged again. Excuse me,
What's tissue?
I might have to have one of those sweets. No, I've got some, but I'll have it in a minute. Yeah, but your soul is made from a different quality of fire. It's made of electric fire, and so not as, you know, it takes an enormous amount for the spirit to come in. It's also known as the monad. That word is going to get more understood. But we are all in process to prepare ourselves, to prepare this temple for the light of your spirit to come in. Yeah, you're building the bridge to that. And how many of you have actually felt that you've been through a bit of a Kundalini awakening, a lot of electricity, kriyas happening, mudras? Yeah. So your spirit's coming right in. And when you feel it, at some point you'll go right into the base chakra. It's like a burning, opening, activating, grounding tone inside out. We're in it. That's so beautiful to hear. I'd love to go into that at some point. You're welcome to share some of your experiences as well. But was that fairly clear about the difference between the two?
There's a lot to absorb there.
Yeah. I do an Ageless Wisdom online shamanic training, about 280 people, something like that, have joined it, and it's quite comprehensive. And then every month I do answer questions, or I might give a transmission about a particular part. It has things like, for instance, talking of how to die consciously and how to support people when they're going through that passage, to understand the barriers and the different planes of consciousness. Yes, but I talk a lot about plant medicines because I definitely, as a grandmother, feel a real sense of responsibility that people understand what they're doing when they open to the different plants, and especially that, I just hear about people going around serving bufo and all sorts of things, and it just worries me because I just see a lot of mess in a lot of places, and I feel like it would be helpful that everybody feels that they're very prepared to open in these sacred ways and then know how to ground these things. Yeah. Yes, darling?
I would love to hear more about what you know or what you can transmit about this age of Aquarius in the next 2,000 years.
Yes.
What is, what is our role in that? And what if we could live 2,000 years? What would it look like?
Thank you. So there has been incredible seers. When I was young, I read a book out. It was like a science fiction book that stuck with me. I can't remember the name of it, but the writer might have been Carl Sagan or one of those famous. But I think he really spoke it was a made-up story, but he talked about this race that were deeply telepathic. Now, I've personally had experiences in visions of where these young girls that were exquisitely, I love children and I see the beauty in children, but these young girls were so beautifully mind-blowing in this vision state where we were sitting with the Buddha and having audience with the Buddha. And these girls, I suddenly realized they could hear me thinking. And I was going, oh my God, you're just so beautiful, wow, in my mind. And then this particular girl looked at me and her eyes had presence like Pablo Freelander, interestingly, because he is very precious in terms of that presence he transmits, very Christ-like. Anyway, as I'm going, oh my God, you're so beautiful, this child said, thank you, silently. And I'm like, oh, wow, you can hear what I'm thinking. Thank you. And in that moment was when I understood a new level of telepathy. So I am very telepathic, naturally, or I have become so more in this last 10 or 12 years. But this child was literally in like an atomic melting where our mind to mind became one, our emotions became one, that blew my mind, and then our soul, where our souls could interface. Now, souls interfacing is highest white tantra, which is why in the Vedas and in Tibet Buddhism, you always see the consort and let's say, Vajrasattva, you will always see a Buddha with his consort in union, making love, and especially the king and queen of Kalachakra. They're making love because they're unified as one. And in this lifetime, because I've been so graced to have experienced that, full mudras, forehead, 16 arms, in that level of union, that I feel this deepest responsibility to share for the progression of the race as to why conscious conception, conscious lovemaking moves the race forward for the next 7 generations, because it opens a doorway for a very high level of children that can be born in a protected telepathic space. So for instance, there was some children that I knew, like my children were not in that, they didn't have that protection, high frequency. Whereas I have seen children in this life, not in dream states, where they are so sensitive, so telepathic, and they're like the beginning of the edge of the new wave of telepathic children. And going to school is absolutely horrendous and polluting, because the mind stream of the children are comparing, judging, ridiculing, humiliating, and very painful. There's even people in this room who are so advanced as children, it was almost impossible for them to be around others. In human design, you would look at that as like the reflectors, very small percentage of humanity, that it's very difficult for them to be in impure environments. So in the Ageless Wisdom, the texts talk about that the children of the sixth root race will be born in Brazil, which is what this vision was all those years ago. But that doesn't mean it's only in Brazil. And now, interestingly, I haven't listened to all of them, but there are a whole group of tapes called the telepathy tapes around the autistic children who are consciously aware of telepathically communicating with other children that they meet on an inner plane level. Now, those of you, how many of here have drunk ayahuasca or done plant medicine? So you've glimpsed into these states of awareness where you know that you're on an inner plane level, and there's definitely a lot of other people. So I was lucky, I had a lot of those vision states before ever drinking ayahuasca. And, you know, that has helped me to know, no, it's not just a trip or something like that, this really exists. Which is another reason, so I'm getting slightly off track. So what will it be like? I think it will be the unveiling of the Force Matrix, bringing us into the revelation of understanding that the fifth kingdom of heaven is parallel to this world as we see it now, and it will be like a mist that opens us to understand there are all these etheric palatial levels and all these other beings that are on a very higher angelic level, fairies, all of the rest of it, that all coexist with us here. That's my intuition, because I've seen it after ceremonies where it's like this whole opening, and I'm like, wow, England, Elfin Queen Kingdom and Queendom, it's so sacred and bejeweled. So that's part of it, but we have to ground it out. And it will happen through everybody's light bodies being activated and being able to hold and stabilize monadic spirit level frequencies with each other. And that we are disciplined enough not to talk bullshit. That we'd rather not talk so much and be with presence than all the whiffle waffle in and out crap that happens all the time. So this is where we will go. There'll be less talking, more being, and everybody being able to hold that voltage of bliss, which means it brings us all into natural, fulfilled state where there's room for everybody to shine. And that we have the technology and the awareness to how to repair the breach of our consciousness that polluted our waters and our seas with nuclear war, nuclear stuff. We're going to be able to heal the addiction to pornography. We're going to be able to educate the children to understand to speak up, and that there'll be enough levels that there will nobody, like anybody here who's been sexually abused, they definitely won't be passing it down. So we're repairing the breach. That's going to take 200 to 300 years to close all the gateways of distortion. But it's being revealed, and it's fast, and we've seen it with the plant medicines. Not that they are the only way. They have assisted us, and they've been amazing to assist us in the fast track way. But we've all got to do our own inner work. And as you know, anybody who's done plant medicines watches so many people serving them who do not walk their talk and are deluded and presenting themselves as the thing, you know. And this is all about, and Pluto and Aquarius, this is an interesting one that I'm looking at now. It's uncomfortable. We are being able to, it's like this veil's come off to show us how much bullshit in terms of what we thought we had achieved in terms of spiritual community. How much work there is to do to be harmless, holding each other in the highest light. That is hard. Because the ego is so fast to take and set it into like a clique of medicine people. You know, only the very elite or the wealthiest, they, you know, like, or whatever. It's like, there's all little cliques, which actually is when the base chakra is not really grounded in the right way. That people don't feel that because people want to, before being awake, they want to belong to something. And when we're awake, we're not belonging to anything. We're just in our relationship with the Creator, and the circle is wide open. But look, it's going in the right direction, but it's a long way to go. As in, if we think just the education system for children has been based on mediocrity, keeping children distracted and not really being able to specialize at a young age of what they would love to do. What happens as we awaken, we're all going to go into what we love to do. And in the way of the old, where you would have been seen as a soul, as to what your gifts are, and then said, you know, like, wow, I really feel your artistic nature and your ability to be so supportive of people. How can I support you? Like, let's really look at how we can make it so that you get to do what you really love to do, and your skill sets get to flourish. That's just the starting point. But in the future, it will be like Shambhala, because when everybody's become soul infused, monadically aligned, then we won't be raping and taking everything out of the earth and fracking. We'll be looking to see how do we put back with every footstep of where we walk every day, in every situation. Everything that comes out of our mouth will be to uplift, not be negative to somebody and harmful in how we say it. So that's how I see it. And then 2,000 years away, I would say my glimpse is that, well, the Satyayuga and some of the prophecies that you talk about, then it begins again. We only get 1,000 years of peace in terms of 3D dimension Earth. I was just thinking, that doesn't feel wrong. But all the amount of lifetimes of warring, genocides and everything, doesn't feel wrong. But I don't know if that part's true. That could just be a distorted, written in part from some patriarchal bullshit. I don't know. I think we create our reality with Creator. But technology is really important, and not to fear it. And it has to be balanced with our ability to work with the fire, work with the water, work with our bodies, the earth. Your body is the earth. Excuse me. Any more questions? Shall we have a wee break? Break and then questions? I mean, the grandmother that is going to hold you the space in this way. Let me know afterwards, so make space to talk to you. And meanwhile, please let me know if there's any more questions. I really loved your question. I could speak for hours on that, but one thing I would say, Erica, is I've been graced actually to host the Vajra Master from the Kala Chakra Jalang lineage, both at my house and in Glastonbury. But he does lots of stuff online, and he really talks about the golden age in relationship to how we are all part of planting the seeds for this to manifest. And actually this comes back to all these 20-something years I've done in plant medicine work. All the fires that I've sat around and all the different places with different people around the world, those that work indigenously, and a lot of the San Pedro Mochileras and Peyoteras, you know, especially the Wirang people, what they're doing is planting seeds for the future generations. That blows my mind, you know. I really see it like this: we are our grandmother's dreaming, and we are our grandfather's prayers already. And, you know, for some of you, it may be that you're not having children in this lifetime, but you can hold as aunties and uncles the dreaming of how you want to see the earth and the children of the next 7 generations. I think we should start from there. You know, there's a very earthy path of people that see themselves as responsible for keeping the children's fire burning. You know, like when we sit around a fire and we light a fire and we pray around that fire, that we're praying for the children of the next 7 generations. That means a lot to me. Like, this isn't airy fairy over there, it's grounded now for the children of now. And we're guardians of this earth in a very big, important level. So, you know, and every one of you has capacity. Everybody has so many precious, beautiful gifts. Some people are here to plant a lot of trees and make beautiful gardens. Other people are amazing writers that inspire people. Everybody here is gifted. There's nobody's higher or lower in that way. And we all matter. I really wanted to just say that in terms of what we create. But one of the things that we always find out is when we start to awaken is recognizing that the ego self actually hasn't got a clue what it wants or what would make it happy in reality. And that's why, and maybe let's do this actually, if there's not loads of questions, I really want to make a space where just show you an effortless technique. It's not like, just an effortless technique to come in. But before we do that, let me ask just briefly, please, if you've got questions, do you want to ask anything now, or shall we do this take this moment just to come in? Yeah, let's do that. In that case, then, please will you play this and turn it up a little bit, but enough so that I can hear my voice over the chanting. Thank you. Who is choking? Oh, is she okay? What do you think that is? Did something go down the wrong way?
No, she has something, like she has it from, I think, some things are coming up there.
Does she need you to just go present? Get her to just gently rest and breathe, just to not try and push it away, to welcome it. So please get comfortable. And if you can, make it that your spine is nice and erect. So invite chakra, going all the way down into the earth. As you open yourself to harmonize with the Great Mother's crystal core, to bless you with the harmony to end that warring within, to love and know the light that you are, to really anchor yourself here. It's safe for me to exist here. I love you, Ray. I trust you. purpose and intent aligns in loving service to the one and all. On the centre known as humanity, the plan of love and light is now made fully manifest. Love and light and wisdom now restores the planet, the balance of planet Earth. Love and light and wisdom now restores the balance of planet Earth. Love and light and wisdom now restores the balance of planet Earth. And so it is. May the light of wisdom shine upon us, upon all beings, in all planes and all dimensions, now and forevermore, for the ultimate good of all. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. All in the name of the Mother, the Soul, and the collective consciousness of humanity. Thank you so much. It feels very strong transition here. Feeling your light, feeling your souls. Thank you so much beyond words. Okay, I feel like I'm wasting you. So funny. So funny. I love that. Oh. Actually, the more that I meet the Great Spirit within, the more I just feel like I know everybody, and it's quite a trippy experience all the time. I've got to say that. It is. Thank you. Did that feel nourishing? Yeah? Did you feel that, what I was feeling, like big crown chakra point activation? It's really